Hey, part two. Okay, so Heidi has asked, what kind of books did you like in high school? Were your interests a lot different? I don't think that my interests were a lot different. I feel like in general, I've always liked the same type of books, but I just don't remember. I think in high school it was like the time that I read the least. Actually, maybe like right after high school was the time that I read the least. I read a lot as a kid. And then in high school, I read a little bit less, mostly because it was being assigned to me, and I really don't like doing what people tell me that I have to do. It fills me with a rage, even if it's like, I mean, back then, for sure, with teachers. Now, if I had a class, I would obviously do the reading. But I read most of Dracula. I read A Clockwork Orange. I can't remember any other books that I read in high school. But yeah, I've always liked, the baddies in the books. And then I feel like I mentioned in my last video, but Chuck Palahniuk, I really, really loved him. And I don't think my interests were a lot different. I'm pretty boring. I was a lot more interested in being different from everyone else. I thought it was really boring to be the same as everyone else. So I was a little bit over the top with the way that I dressed and presented myself, mostly because I was made fun of a lot. And so it was my coping mechanism, because if I was already making myself more unpalatable to others, then they couldn't really do anything to hurt me. So it was definitely a coping and defense mechanism. But now I just looking back, it's I obviously cared so much because I needed to prove a point. And now it's just I don't care at all. I mean, that's coming off odd. Whatever. Other people can have their opinions and that's fine. Kind of thing. I don't, my level of investment in other people's opinions has lessened considerably. Wow, that wasn't really a great answer to that question, but that's okay. I'm basically the same person. If you could have any author write your life story, who would it be and why? Oh my gosh, Stephanie, that's such a great question. I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to author Stephanie that asked me this question. What a great question. Hold on, let me think a little bit. Okay, this is gonna sound super depressing and I'm really sorry. Yeah, I just don't know, because I don't think that any author that I would want to, they have better things to do, basically, is what I'm saying. And most of the authors that I really, really like, I think are dead, or their prime has left them. And yeah, my life is also really boring, so why would anyone need to write it? Let's see. I guess. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. Here's some more. Okay. I did not organize the questions very well. Who was your childhood hero? What a great question. I don't know. I'm gonna say my mom. Is that too lame of an answer? I don't know. I don't know that I thought of people in those terms when I was a kid. I don't know. I do remember watching a documentary about, so during the Vietnam War, the United States bombed Laos. For what reason? Just because we suck. And so a lot of the bombs were these little, they're called bombies, and they're little circles. And so I remember watching a documentary about this woman who is Canadian, who is picking up bombs, or is part of a team that's picking up these unexploded ordinances, because they're still going off and children are finding them and being maimed terribly, and dying because these bombs still exist. So I remember thinking about her and wanting to be her. So I guess maybe that's the closest that I can think of to a hero, a childhood hero. I was definitely in high school, I think, when I heard about her, or watched the documentary or watched the news clip. I don't know what it was, but that has really left an impression on me, that this Canadian woman is going and cleaning up after our mess. I thought that was really admirable. Favorite movies to rewatch / comfort movies. Booksmart lately has been my favorite comfort movie because it's just so sweet and so fun and just so full of joy and love. And it like also makes me cry a little bit because there's a lot of emotions in it that do remind me of when I was in high school, specifically the pool scene. If you guys remember the pool scene, if you've seen Booksmart, I just love it. And obviously the whole high school genre in general brings me a lot of joy and comfort, but also the Fast and Furious movies do too, because like, you know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I find them comforting. I definitely don't rewatch movies as much as I used to, though. I used to, rewatch movies constantly. And my favorite book publisher, love this question. I love Tin House. I'm really into Charco, but I haven't read as many of their books as I would like to. Maybe that's what I should focus on next year. It's like each month. I know it's fine. I know this is basically what I was trying to do this year, and I failed at it. But yeah, so Tin House is like the one that I've read the most from, that I definitely trust every single book that they publish for the most part, I'm going to say. I also, NYRB, I really like, but I feel like their books are typically more like heady and they require more thought when you're reading them. Like they're more difficult. At least maybe the ones that I have picked are more difficult reads in general. Yeah, Tin House and Charco Press, I think, are really, really, there's so many good freaking publishers that exist. What's a recently discovered podcast you've been listening to? So this is not recent, but I just want to shout them out. So I'm gonna cheat and say this instead. TBTL, I love TBTL. And it's one of my favorite podcasts. It's hosted by Andrew Walsh and Luke Burbank. It's just two bros broing it up, and I love them so much. They're super fun. Luke is a radio host. He does like Wait, Don't Tell Me and Live Wire, and he's on CBS, I think, sometimes, and he's like kind of showboaty and like a little gregarious. And then Andrew is more like nervous and likes to follow rules and like is really conscientious of like things that he does and that other people do. And I relate to Andrew a lot, and it's just really fun. Where's my lunchbox? I've got my cute little lunchbox, my TBTL lunchbox. And yeah, the joy of them, though, is that they do shows Monday through Friday, and they're at least an hour each. So I don't know if any of you have time for that much content, but it is super, super fun, and I love them. What's one of your favorite meals to make? Bree, what a good question. That is a good question. I mean, the thing I probably have the most fun making is pasta sauce, but I can't eat it anymore at the moment because I'm not supposed to have garlic and onions and tomatoes, which is literally everything that's in tomato sauce, mostly because it's kind of fun because you can just like put whatever you want in the sauce and let it simmer, and it's fun. But besides that, I don't know. Such a good question. I like making all kinds of stuff, I mean, I like making empanadas because then that means that I've got empanadas in my house. Let's see. Favorite thing about my job? Helping people. I love my job so much. It's really, really fulfilling. I don't know if I've really expressed on this channel what it is that I do. I am a nurse. I do a very specific type of nursing. I do therapeutic apheresis procedures. The most common two types of procedures that I do are white cell collections and plasma exchanges, but it's really, really fulfilling because I have people that I see that are like super sick, and I get to help them, and I get to see them become better over like a period of time, sometimes if I'm doing plasma exchanges. But yeah, so it's really nice to like, it's so fulfilling. I love my job. Although I have to be on call sometimes 24/7, so it is a little stressful at times, but whatever. And then I was asked favorite indie press, which I feel like I've covered, but I guess I'll throw out a couple more just for funsies. I feel like such a poser saying Fitzcarraldo since I haven't technically read any books by Fitzcarraldo, but when you can just like tell in your heart that you're gonna love a publisher. And then I also really like, oh my gosh, what is the name of that publisher? Hold on one second. Grey Wolf Press and also Coffee House Press and Europa. Those are also really, really good. Favorite indie bookstore, Daunt outside of the United States, Daunt Bookstore in London is my favorite bookstore that exists on the planet. I love it so much in there. And then besides that, in the US, I've ordered a couple times from Zand Bros. I've never been inside of their store, but every time I order from them, they like leave a nice little note and everything, which I think is really sweet. I don't know where they're based out of off the top of my head, but obviously Finney Books in Seattle, so good. I love Finney. Hopefully I remember to link everything that I mentioned down below, but Finney Bookstore is so good. And then Broadway Books is my favorite, like in town, because it's like my bookstore that I go to. Happiest day of your life, Lena. I mean, I want to say when Jake proposed to me. Is that too mushy gushy for me? Probably. Yeah, I can't really think of another day that like would beat that. That was a great day. Man, I'm so mushy. Okay. Let's see, what else? Adam has asked, is your emotional attachment to physical books stronger or weaker since first booktubing? I think it's the same. I don't know that there's a change. The only thing that has changed since booktube is like the degree to which my behaviors exist. So every behavior that I had before booktube, I still have. So I owned too many unread books before booktube. I definitely bought more than I read before booktube, etc. But now everything is just like more. So before booktube, I was reading like 20 books a year. I'm probably buying like 40 books a year. And now I'm reading like, you know, I would say like around 70 books a year and probably buying over 100 books a year. But I would say that my emotional attachment is probably relatively the same. And then he also asked who is the translator of the Neapolitan novels by Elena Ferrante. It's Anne Goldstein, I think. I don't have a book around me to check. I just doubt myself all the time, Adam. Forgive me. And then let's see, that might, I guess that's all the questions from Instagram, or at least all the pictures, or all the ones that I took pictures of. So let's see, since I'm still here, what the ones on the YouTube video were. I really should have thought of this beforehand. Hold on. Okay, I got my questions for my YouTube video. So hopefully this is the last little bit and then I'm done. This has been a lot of fun. I guess it's fun to talk about yourself, isn't it? Boop. All right, so Joe asked on YouTube, favorite country to read translated lit from? I mean, Argentina and Japan are probably my two favorites. I do want to branch out more, and but just like off the top of my head, their vibes, like, and like the types of books that are coming out of those countries, for me are great. Favorite small press, I feel like I've covered this enough. And place you most want to travel to? At the moment, it is Italy. I feel like I don't know when I've mentioned this in the past, but I used to go to Italy every single summer because my mom was a single mom, and so I would go and be with my aunt during the summer in Italy. And so I have like a very, very strong attachment to that country, and like just such a longing for it right now specifically. I did go in 2019, so it wasn't like that long ago, but it's really difficult to go this long without going there, since I'm so used to going there at least once a year. Places that I haven't been to that I would like to travel to, literally everywhere. It used to be one of my goals in life to visit every single country on the planet. I don't think that's very realistic now at this point. I have always been, that's like a goal that I made for myself in high school, was to learn 10 languages and visit every single country on earth. Again, I love goals. I always have, and I always will. I think for sure I would like to visit, there's just so many places. I want to go everywhere, to be honest with you. It's really hard, but probably Japan is like, or South Korea are like the two like tops. But I've never been to any Asian, African, or Latin American, South American country, I guess I should say, because I've been to Central America and I've been to the Caribbean. So it would be nice to at least hit each continent. But yeah, so but Japan and South Korea would be like at the top of the list, I think. And then let's see if there's any more questions. What music did you like when you were a teenager, and do you still like it? Oh, great question. In high school, I just was into the Angry Chicks. So I definitely Garbage. I like killed that CD because I listened to it so many times. Beautiful Garbage and just Garbage. I really liked Fifi Dobson. I also really liked Regina Spektor and the Murmurs and the Diddy Bops. I guess they're not like super angry. They're more like, it all kind of like verges on. I feel like Garbage is like the angriest of them, but any kind of like ladies jamming, I was really, really into, and I still am. I just don't really listen to music very much anymore. I'm a podcaster person. Like I listen to podcasts a lot. And then favorite language to read translated into English. They're all good, but I would say most frequent is probably Spanish and Japanese are the most frequent, but all of them are so good. What is the book you've read that you feel far more people should know about that has had the greatest impact on your life as a human? Carm! That's too difficult of a question. The book that I've read that I feel far more people should know about. I mean, to be honest, I'm going to say any Kurt Vonnegut book. I feel like no one on BookTube really talks about him, and I find it really confusing and frustrating because he was so great and like had such important things to say about society and capitalism and like just everything, and ran out of space on my phone. So anyways, yeah, Hocus Pocus in particular, I think I read that at the beginning of last year. It really, really opened my eyes a lot because I am extremely judgmental. I think most people are judgmental and just like don't like to admit it, but I have a lot of strong opinions. And there's certain things that I feel I can't be budged on. However, when I read Hocus Pocus, I felt a lot of sympathy for American soldiers that were fighting in Vietnam, which is bonkers to me because like they did a lot of horrible, horrible things. But just because a lot of people did horrible things does not mean that a lot of it does not mean everyone was in that same position. And it was really interesting to read from the point of view of a person who was a soldier in Vietnam and who like was going into the war expecting to be treated as a war hero when he left, and then to be like treated with such disdain and to be like treated like trash basically because they did horrible things. And yeah, so it brought like a whole new, like it just opened my eyes that there's more to the story, or more to what goes on, even with things that I think are abhorrent and should not be happening. Like there's always more to it, and like not, and it's so funny because I don't think that humans are black and white. I feel like there is so much, like so many intricacies and so many small details and so many things that make people tick and like cause certain people to do bad things or cause certain people to do good things. Like, just because you do good things does not mean you're a good person. You can be a bad person and do good things for the wrong reasons. Like all of this like performative social activism and stuff. Like there's a lot of nuance to behavior and thought and, you know, like just your inside. So the problem is that we cannot know where a person's coming from. We can't know intent. We don't know anything. All we know is actions, because that's all we can see as like another person. So anyways, it was really interesting to me because I do think of myself as a person who sees nuance, and I do think of myself as a person who understands things, but then to be shown that I really was not like that at all. And I'm sure there's lots of things that I still don't see the nuance in, but it was really interesting to have my eyes opened so much to something that I really felt so firmly. And again, I still think that war was, I don't approve of any of it at all, but it is interesting because when you think of all the horrible things, you kind of think of it as like a whole. You don't think of like the individual person that is coming out of it, if that makes any sense. So I did think that book was really good. But again, all of Kurt Vonnegut's books, in my opinion, I just don't think they're talked about that much. And I feel like he has shaped me a little bit. So I do appreciate him a lot. And then I think that was it. What a heavy way to end the video. Sorry. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching and for subscribing and for commenting. I do try to respond to all the comments, but sometimes I just go through phases where I'm just like not, you know, in a good mood. And also the problem is that I like to leave thoughtful comments on, like thoughtful responses on thoughtful comments. So if you've written like quite a bit, then I want to make sure that I'm like properly responding to you. But then sometimes that means that I like put it aside and then I forget to do it. So it is a goal of mine to go back and comment on or respond to every single comment that I've gotten on every single video, which I feel like would take a long time because I definitely missed a lot of comments. But they mean a lot to me and I really appreciate it. And I just appreciate you guys for watching. So thank you. I'm gonna go before I start crying, but I appreciate all of you very much.